Hi everybody, it's Art with Kathy, week 15. Today we're going to be doing two projects and you're going to need to get out your watercolors that I provided for you earlier and your paintbrush. The other materials you're going to need for the two projects are a pair of scissors and a little tub of water. Okay, just a little bit of water and maybe a paper towel to wipe off your brush. What I'd like you to do, since we're using paint, make sure you're using on a surface that won't get stained or ruined. So if you need to put newspaper down or something like that, that would be great. So everybody is getting a piece of watercolor paper and a piece of dark gray paper. Okay? Now, the watercolor paper, what I want you to do, let me show you the end product real quick. We're going to be doing some weaving, and I wove in the watercolor paper that I painted into the dark gray paper, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So what you're going to do is you're going to start by painting the entire sheet with the watercolors. I did kind of rainbows. This started out as one big page, and then I cut it into strip, which is the next step. All right, so let me tell you, if you don't have any watercolors left, you can use your markers, your watercolor markers, and then add water to that. So you could color and then take a paintbrush with just plain water and you can make it into watercolors. Another thing that I don't know why it keeps getting dark, sorry about that. Another thing you might try is using food coloring diluted with water. That is super messy and it stains, so please be careful if you choose to do that. You could also just use crayons and markers, anything you can color it with, okay? So once you've colored it or painted it or whatever you choose to do with it, you're gonna wait for it to dry. Mine took about 2 hours since it's warm out. It took no time at all to dry. And then what I did was I cut it in strips like this. All right, now you're not gonna be able to fit all of these into your weaving. I don't know if you can see the colors on there. Oh, lighting is terrible right now. I'm sorry. I'm doing it in the evening instead of during the day. Okay, so you're going to cut it into strips, your watercolor paper that you painted or colored on, all right? This is the tricky part. What I'd like you to do is you're going to take the dark gray piece of paper, you're going to fold it in half like this, and then you're going to cut into it in strips. Now, I did squiggly lines, but you do not want to cut it all the way to the end. You need to leave about an inch because you don't want to cut it all the way through or it'll be really hard to weave, okay? So watch. You're going to go, I like doing a curving line. You're going to cut and then you're going to stop about an inch from the top. So I'm going to do all my lines. I'm going to do fat lines. You can do skinny lines. You can do both. All right, do you see how I stopped an inch from the top because we don't want to cut all the way through? Then you're going to open it back up and you're going to have a really cool design. And what you're going to do is you're going to weave each piece of your watercolor paper. Remember, over, under, over, under. So we're doing over, under, over, under, over. There's our first strip, okay? Now, then you're going to do the next one, the opposite. Under, over, under, over, and under. I know you guys have done weaving. You guys can handle this. I know you can. So you can push it really tight next to the first strip, or you can leave some space and it creates kind of a checkerboard design. So once you've put as many that you can fit, because you're not going to be able to fit all the strips in there because we left the inch, remember, on each side. All right, so I thought that turned out really cool. So that's our first project. And then the second project is a button bracelet. We're making them out of pipe cleaners and buttons. All right, so here is my pipe cleaner. And here is my button. So you're going to want to go all the way to the end. And then you're going to feed through the other hole down. It's like over under, right? All right, do you see how I did that? Okay, I'm going to do it again. You guys are going to get about 6 to 8 buttons, I think. And you can put some space between them. So then we're going to go to the next button. Now make sure that you put it where you want it before you weave the other end of the pipe cleaner through it. Okay, see how I did that? All right, so now I've got my 2 buttons on there. Cool. So it almost looks like you have like a little, actually that one did. All right, so there's 2. Like I said, you're going to have more than this. I just have 3 for my example. And then I put it where I want it first, and then I feed the other end through. Remember, don't feed the other end until you got it where you want it, okay? All right. So I've got 3 buttons. That's my design. This was my first one that I did. I thought this was really cool. So once you're done, you're going to put it around your wrist and then twist it. And then you can untwist it to take it off whenever you want to take it off. All right, so there's my button bracelet. All right, guys, well, there should be some coloring pages in your bags as well. I hope everybody's doing good, and I miss you all so much. I'll see you next week.